Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this.
Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean...
You were supposed to bring death to the flagships, not join them.
That's a pill with two screens and it's open and you gotta swallow it.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
Behind-the-scenes camera crap.
Here, tell us about courage, Phil. Tell us about courage.
I am Nadella. Well, I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing. Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I am your host, Wes, and I'm here with Landon.
Hello.
And Caleb.
Yo.
And we are here to talk all things tech, which is not a lot this week, but we're gonna do it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's a short list.
It's that time of that year where really not a lot's happening. There are a lot, hardware, little releases here and there, but we'll make it happen. We'll tell you what. Why don't we go ahead and let's start with Landon today. Landon, you got a couple things you want to talk about?
I do. But first, I want to start with something a little different.
Ooh.
I have to do this in case you two didn't see that I posted on Instagram. I have to ruin it for you and the listeners because it was ruined for me. Well, not ruined, I guess, but enhanced in a way. So
Enhancedly ruined?
There's a song out there by The Killers, and I can't remember now what it's called. Mr. Brightside, I think is what it is.
Yes.
But anyways.
Oh, right.
I saw this thing on Instagram, and they did this. They're like, somebody ruined this for me, so I'm going to ruin it for you. And they started playing the song, and then when the lyrics start, when they start singing, it shows a picture of Jerry Seinfeld. And when you hear the song, along with a picture of Jerry Seinfeld, it sounds like he is singing the song.
Really?
And I can't get it out of my head now that way. And it's amazing. It's not it doesn't ruin it for me personally, because I like Jerry Seinfeld. He's funny. I like this show Seinfeld, but it just puts a different spin on that song now.
Kind of does. I'll tell you what, when we're done with this, I'll have to listen to it and just hold a picture of Jerry Seinfeld on my phone while it happens, okay?
And so there you go, listener. There's just a little bit of fun for you. At least for me, if nothing else. Anyways, tech news, that's really why we're here.
Right.
I do have some Google news as well. So, first thing, listener, you may have noticed in your, buying of things online, as long as it's not Amazon, especially if you use an Apple device, you probably would have seen Pay with Apple Pay. Or if you don't use that, you've probably seen Pay with PayPal or different things like that. Now, Google has made it so you can do basically the same thing, but you can buy with Google Pay. So it's basically, like I said, just like paying with Apple Pay or paying with PayPal. It just uses Google Pay's system rather than the other one. So if you use Android on a regular basis, you have Google Pay set up, I would recommend doing this because it's going to be more secure than just putting your card information onto a website or, things like that.
It's also a heck of a lot easier.
Yes, it's like one click and you have to authenticate usually, at least with Apple Pay. Like you click on it, if they use Face ID or your Touch ID or something, and then it pays. It'll be the same thing with Google Pay. You click on it, it'll use your authentication of either PIN, Face ID, or something like that to do it, and it just works. Yep. It's fast, it's easy, it's more secure, it's nice.
And at least in the case of Apple Pay and PayPal, it'll autofill your address if you've got shipping address or something like that. It's a giant time savings, and the fact of the matter is you get the benefit of it generates a randomly created card number and security PIN and stuff like that is only usable for that transaction, and it's impossible to steal. And it's great. Everyone should use this. Listener, you should use this. And I was shopping for some presents earlier this week, and I saw the Google Pay option on one of the websites that I was shopping on, and I was like, have I seen that before?
Nope,
this
you
new
didn't.
or
It's new.
yeah? So that's pretty cool. It's already popping up.
Yeah, I mean, they've had something similar to this. If you use Chrome, the Chrome browser, you could autofill all your card information that way, and I've done that. But that does it how if you were to just fill it out yourself, basically.
Right.
And you have to like verify it by typing in your CVC code on the back of your card or whatnot. But this way, it's actually like Caleb said, it's using a one-time different generated card number instead of actually your card number. So again, it's more secure, it's faster, it's easier, it's just better all around. So
Yep.
I like that they now have this option with Google Pay. So you have all the different ways of doing it that are going to be safer and better for you, the customer.
Interesting.
All right. Now, the next thing is, oh, Google. This is something that should have been done, let's see, 9 years ago is when Google bought Waze in 2013.
Wow.
And I guess it makes some sense why they did it the way they did. So they kept the Waze team and the Google Maps team separate. They've kept those separate, not working together for this whole time. And the reason they did that is initially so people wouldn't complain about, oh, Google's just going to turn Waze into Google Maps. They never did that. Actually, what kind of happened is Google Maps turned more into Waze. Like it got, usually they would put new features into Waze and then they would slowly come into Google Maps. Is how it's been working. But now, Google has decided, you know what, let's just put these teams together and then they can, come up with features together and make it work together better. Makes sense, right? At least it does to me. So Google has said that, yes, this is finally happening. They are going to bring their Waze team and their Maps team, have them work together. And I'm really hoping that they see this, that it works well, and they think, oh, maybe we should put our Android team and our hardware team and let them work together.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be something. I don't see that happening, but I have hopes. Oh,
yeah.
So
it's kind of one of those, Google, you don't actually get the benefit of making the hardware and the software if you don't have those two teams talk to each other.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just making software for hardware made by someone else still, even though they're both owned by the same company.
Yeah. So, like I said, hopefully, I think this will work out well for Google Maps and for Waze. And hopefully Google will learn a lesson here and do something similar with other parts of their companies they own. And speaking of Pixel, so this month, there was a new update for Pixel phones, as there usually is. Every month there's always a security update. But this one was special because it's one of their Pixel feature drops. So most of the new things came for Pixel 7 phones. So Wes will benefit from this. And anybody that bought a Pixel 7 phone will also benefit from these new things. One of the new features, well, all of these new features basically are stuff that they talked about at the Pixel 7 launch event that are just now finally rolling out. So one of which is a feature called Clear Calling. Basically what it is supposed to be is noise canceling for phone calls. So it's kind of supposed to help clean up background noise on your end, but also on the end of whoever you're talking to. Now, from what I understand, it doesn't really work, or people just aren't noticing a difference. Like I've listened to different podcasts, I've read different articles all about this feature specifically that have come with this update, and everyone that I've heard about using this is like, I don't really notice a difference. So
nice.
Who knows? Now, there's so many different factors that go into this type of feature in a phone call. Does it require a specific service that you're like, is it going to work on all carriers? Is it going to work in 4G only or 5G only? Or will it work on different bands of these different 4G or 5, how is this all going to work? Does it require specific scenarios to actually work. Does it have to be Pixel 7 to Pixel 7? Can it be Pixel 7 to an iPhone or to another Android? We don't know, because everything I've read, nobody's been able to tell a difference so far. So who knows? But it is a nice feature if it will work.
Yeah.
So, like, there was one person I heard, they said they called somebody specifically trying to use this who normally uses Google Voice, who just used their regular phone number to have them call, and on their end it got worse because they weren't using Google Voice. Like, well, that is funny.
That's not good.
And makes some sense. But that is now there, supposedly, clear calling. So there you go. This one that's actually, I think, going to be beneficial is the free VPN that Pixel 7 users are supposed to get is now available. So you don't have to, like previously you had to have a Google One subscription at one of the higher tiers to get the free VPN. But now if you own a Pixel 7 phone, you just get this free VPN, and it is available now with this update. So there you go. That is nice. The recorder app, the voice recorder app, is now gotten the speaker labels that we talked about. So if you're recording somebody and there's multiple people on the recording, it will separate the different, like in the transcription of the recording, it'll separate those voices out and have a different label per person. So it'll have person 1 or person 2 or person 7 or however many people there are. It'll separate those out. So when you're going through, if you're looking at the transcription of it, you can tell who's speaking and when. Really nice. So that is now available. Also, this is one that I kind of thought this was there. So Google did the same mistake that Apple did. So Google on the Pixel 7 phones introduced a macro mode for the macro photo mode on the cameras. And they did what Apple did, where it was an automatic macro mode. So if you get a certain distance away from whatever you're taking a picture of, it would automatically switch to macro mode. Right. Sometimes that was beneficial. Sometimes you didn't want it to do that because it switches lenses on you. And sometimes you don't want it to do that. And initially on the iPhone and initially on the Pixel, it just did it on its own. You couldn't turn it on or off. So that was annoying. So Apple fixed it on theirs last year and made it so you could manually turn that on or off if you wanted to. And now with this update, Google has done the same thing because tech companies cannot learn from each other, apparently, on the mistakes. They have to implement the same thing the same way, and then down the road, we'll fix it, No. They should just do it right the first time. Come on. But now that is a nice feature, so you can manually turn off macro mode or turn it on if you want to. So there you go. Now, these other features are coming to all the Pixels that are getting this update, so that is the 4A and newer. The security and privacy hub inside of settings is now there. So basically all of your security features and privacy features are in the same section now. There's not like 2 or 3 different sections that they were in before. They're all going to be right next to each other and easily accessible. And so that's nice. And then what everybody has wanted every time they get an update, new wallpapers. So there you go. That's the other one that all the phones are getting. And then obviously security update. That's the big thing here. So update your phone, get the new security update. That's the main thing. But again, if you have a Pixel 7, there's some decent new features coming. So there you go. That is the new Pixel feature drop. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about, and this, they announced this with this update, but it's not in the update. So spatial audio is going to be coming to the Pixel 7, and I think just the Pixel 7, but I don't know for sure. But they said this is coming in January's update. So if you have Pixel 7, again, you will be getting spatial audio to use with other headphones and whatnot. Probably Pixel Buds Pro will have that feature. I don't know about other headphones. If the headphones are spatial audio capable, then when you're using your Pixel 7 in January, you will have that feature finally. So there you go. And that is all of the tech news that I have for this week.
Yep. Really good news. The one thing that really, listener, be careful if you do have a Pixel Watch, it can freeze your Pixel Watch where you can't do anything, and it'll sit there and try an update and just eat your battery.
Well, having it on will eat your battery with the Pixel Watch.
Well, it sits there and tries to update.
Yeah.
It's like, and it won't change screens. It won't do anything. And it sits there and says, preparing to update.
Forever.
Yep, I had to let the Pixel Watch lose battery and completely shut off, because when I go to turn it off, I couldn't turn it off because I couldn't use my screen.
Oof.
Oh.
And I couldn't just push and hold it because that doesn't do anything. I also found out if you push the button, I believe it's like 8 times, it'll start just squealing.
What?
No, I'm not kidding. Because I was sitting there, I'm like, okay, what are the buttons? And it just started going off. And I'm like, so I pushed it again. So
Wes found the emergency mode accidentally.
So, it was weird. I don't know why it did what it did, but as soon as I let it die, restart, recharge, turn it back on, and then went and updated it myself, because I think it tried to do it by itself, but without me. But when I went in and said update, go, everything was fine. But yeah.
Now, the one question I have is, I know like with other watches I've had, other Android watches, and with my Apple Watch, in order for it to actually update, it's got to be on a charger and at a specific battery level. Is that potentially may have been part of the issue?
No, because it was when I put it on the charger, and it charged all the way up, and I looked over, and it said preparing to do an update. I was like, oh, okay, I'll let it do its thing, so I won't put it back on.
So it was
Woke
on the
up in
charger
the morning
when you did this.
Yep.
Ah.
Except I didn't initiate it. It tried to initiate it itself.
Gotcha.
And so I was like, oh, okay. Then I woke up, and it still was trying to update, preparing itself to update. And then I tried everything, messed with it, and I couldn't get anything to work. So I was like, well, I think the best case scenario is I need to reset it. I need it to do something, because I can't mess with the screen. So that's why I just grabbed it, wore it, and while it's trying, I knew it was trying to do something because it died within like 3 hours. It was like 3 or 4 hours. It was dead.
Woof.
Which was good. And then when I got home, plugged it in, everything was fine. But yeah, just be aware. May try to update itself. And
fun.
Yeah, not fun. Sorry. I was adding to your
That's a good thing to know. That's a definitely good thing to know.
Yeah. Also, something I was messing with, figured I'd add to this too. There's an option in your music player. Most music players will have a equalizer in it. And if you use the equalizer, try not to use the equalizer as well on the headset, the Pixel Buds Pro headset, because it will sound terrible. For a while there, I don't know how I did it, but I think I had it set to a certain thing on the equalizer on my music player. And then when I got the new headphones, I was like, oh, I need to try everything out. And I was like, man, everything just sounds terrible. Like, it gets quiet and then like things just sounded off. And then finally I was like messing, and I was like, wait, there's an equalizer on here and here. Oh, they're both okay. So.
Yeah, competing equalizers. That's fun.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you have digital equalizers. I miss the days when I had a car stereo that had physical little knobs.
Yeah.
you could set each frequency response curve.
Yep. So little fun things that I've been tinkering with and finding out. So, but yeah, overall, I mean, Pixel 7 Pro's been really good. Been enjoying it. So, and I'm going to try out that VPN. But it was funny, as you were talking about that VPN, I got in and I was like, oh, comes up and it says, big old warning. Hey, some of your apps may not turn on if you use the VPN. They'll just open and close. So it's like, so you have to whitelist some things. So I was like, oh, I'll have to look at that later.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet, now I don't know this for sure, but I'd be willing to bet that there'd be a quick setting toggle you could turn on to just turn on and off the VPN potentially. I don't know for sure.
So when I was looking at it, I have to go into the Google One app and turn it on in the Google One app. and turn it off from there.
Gotcha.
And there is a toggle that says on and off, but it also shows, I think, a whitelist where you're like, this app, don't worry about this one, and that's probably how they're getting around it. So
Yeah.
But I'll mess with it a little bit more and see. So,
well, I'm still pretty pleased with my VPN that if you want to, you can send them money in an unmarked envelope, and that's how you pay for their VPN service. They literally, you can set up a VPN and have no records at all with the company who runs it.
Wow.
They don't know who you are. They don't have any of your payment information. They don't know where you live or anything about you. They don't even know your email address. They just know that they get money in an envelope every month that is associated with such and such a number, and that's it. It's funny because, like, on the one hand, I love that about a VPN. They say we keep no logs, and because of that particular business practice, I'm pretty confident that they keep no logs.
Yeah.
They're not logging my traffic at all because they don't freaking log my existence, for crying out loud. And so that's great, and I like that. VPNs should be like that. But also, I can't help but feel like this entire VPN exists entirely for criminals. You know? Like, it just, yeah. So, I don't know. It'd be nice to not feel like your VPN exists entirely for criminals, but still be confident that they don't, like, keep logs or anything like that. And I don't know where the middle ground for that is, but Google is probably closer to it than I am.
That's funny.
Well, I'll have to mess with it a little more and see. There was a couple other little things, was like, by the way, this will happen or this won't. So we'll see how well it works. Anywho, let's go ahead and let's move on. Caleb, what do you got for us?
Oh man, I've got everybody's favorite topic. All right. Apple's crash detection. Okay.
Yes.
Now, we've talked about this feature when they introduced it, and then we talked about this feature when it was being set off by people riding roller coasters.
Oh, yes.
Fun fact, listener, Apple's crash detection can also be triggered by skiing. Now, I want to be specific here. It's not triggered by crashing while you ski. It's triggered by skiing. Okay. So this actually comes from right here in our home state. KSL talked to the dispatch, and the Summit County dispatch office talked to the, who was it? Oh, it was like the head of dispatch. And she said that they were getting 3 to 5 calls per day since the start of the skiing season that were false alarms, where, they would pick up the phone and they would, talk to the air for a minute before somebody finally realized there was somebody on their phone, and they pick it up and be like, what? Oh, no, everything's fine. I was just skiing. 3 to 5 of those a day since the ski resorts opened. Now, to be clear, this dispatcher did say that they'd rather you not turn the feature off.
Right.
Like 3 to 5 calls a day isn't a ridiculous amount. And, if somebody does get in an accident, which is very, very possible when you are driving to or from a ski resort on snowy roads, bad weather, or whatever, it could be late at night if you're on the way back down the canyon or something like that. If you get in a wreck, they would rather that the feature does what it's supposed to do, and they can get to you faster that way. So, sees the value in the feature, doesn't think that it's too big of a nuisance, but we've now got roller coasters and just skiing down a hill as things that can set this off.
I can see how this isn't it's not getting as many calls as a roller coaster, because it probably is going to need, again, some sort of specific scenario where I get the sound of skiing is there. It's kind of that grinding, crashing kind of sound, depending on how you're doing it. And if you're going fast enough down the mountain, like, again, this is going to be not everyone. Most people are not going to be doing this, where you're going a decent speed down the hill and then all of a sudden stopping.
Yeah.
So that's why it's only a few calls per day, because again, you got to have the right phone or the right watch, and you got to be in those certain circumstances going fast enough and then stopping fast enough to have that happen. So I get why it's not as commonplace as the roller coaster was, because there's more people on the roller coaster that aren't controlling their speed and aren't controlling how fast they stop. That's controlled completely by the roller coaster. Whereas with skiing or snowboarding, you're controlling how fast you're going, and most people aren't going to be going 25 or miles per hour or faster down the mountain and then suddenly stopping like some people would.
Yep. And roller coasters tend to change direction a lot more suddenly than most people do while they're skiing.
Yeah.
Roller coasters will occasionally flip you upside down, which the gyroscope in the iPhone is sure to pick up. And unless you are skiing very poorly, you shouldn't be doing that while you're skiing.
Or very well, as you know.
That's true. That's true. I guess you can definitely think of circumstances where, particularly if somebody goes off of a jump and then stops shortly thereafter, like they land and then, so it's like sudden silence and then sudden noise of hitting the ground, like hitting the actual snow, and then turning sideways or something, which causes even more noise, brings you to a sudden stop. That's also a quick shift in the gyroscope, because the gyroscope goes from facing forward to facing sideways with your body when you do that. So yeah, there's definitely, like, I can see how the actions of skiing kind of fit the same bill as you would get on a roller coaster, depending on who's doing it. It's like you said, it's probably not going to be super common for most people, but common enough that it made national news. So
that is funny.
That's great. So yes, crash detection, it does detect crashes. There have been stories of that happening as well. But also detects roller coasters and skiing. Okay. Now this is not news. This is not a thing that happened this past week or the week before. This is just a public service announcement, listener. We have talked about how stupid it is that the new iPad, which features a USB-C port, is compatible with the Apple Pencil 1, which has a lightning jack on it. Yeah. Turns out the iPad using the Pencil 1 is even stupider than I thought. Oh. Because I had forgotten that plugging the pencil into the iPad is how you pair it with the device when you're setting it up. Like, I had forgotten that from when I did it with my iPad literally like 5 years ago. So I think I feel like I can be forgiven for that. But yeah, that's how you pair the pencil to the iPad. There's no way to do that in the Bluetooth settings or anything like that. You plug it in and it goes, oh, do you want to pair this pencil? You click OK and it's done. So you literally cannot pair the pencil to the iPad without their stupid little adapter dongle for this thing, which does not ship with either the iPad or the pencil.
I thought it did. I thought they were shipping it with the pencil now.
Have they started shipping with the pencil? I
do
know
when they made this announcement of the new iPad, I thought that's when they started because of this. Well, because of the charging issue, but I thought they did start shipping it. That's what I heard anyways.
I do know that when they first started selling the iPad in stores, they would not sell you a pencil if they didn't also have the adapter in stock. But It was technically a $10 separate purchase at that time. Now, that may have just been while they were working through the physical inventory of separate pencils that they had, and maybe they are putting it in the box with the pencil now. But I just cannot stress how stupid this device is. If you ever want to draw with your iPad, do not buy the base model 10th generation iPad. Just buy a 9th gen iPad or buy an iPad Air. Okay? And a Pencil 2. That's, oh man. Anyways, so yes.
Or buy the Logitech crayon.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think the crayon also uses lightning, does it not?
But I think it pairs Bluetooth.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I think. I don't know. But
doesn't have pressure sensitivity, so you are
that
losing
is the downside, yes. But everything else about it is almost identical.
Yeah, seriously, though, honestly, listener, if you want a cheap iPad and you want to draw on your iPad, that's fine. Buy the 9th generation iPad. Just don't buy the 10th gen. That's the answer to this question.
The 10th gen iPad is basically the iPhone 14. Don't buy it.
Yeah, It's like a very minor update in most facets and has some really stupid corners cut. Anyways. Okay. Now, moving on from Apple, which has always been difficult for me. NVIDIA. Here's another company I can rant about.
Oof. One that you can move away from.
So, the RTX 4080. Just real quick. It's been selling very poorly. So this comes down, I think, mostly to the upcoming release of the RDNA 3 based graphics cards from AMD. People are looking at those, and the fact that the quoted performance for those by AMD looks like it should slot very nicely into the same performance bracket as the RTX 4080. And they cost $300 to $400 less. So that is definitely a big thing. And currently, NVIDIA is rumored to be dropping the price of the 4080 in mid-December to compete better with the RDNA 3 GPUs, which are going to be releasing. The RX 7900 XT and 7900 XTX are launching on the 13th of December. So as of recording, it is the 11th. So can't say concrete performance numbers or anything for you at this point, listener. That'll be next week. We'll be able to talk through the actual performance of the new graphics cards from AMD. But the fact that those things are $900 and $1,000 respectively, just the promise of that, I feel like has kind of cut the legs out from underneath the 4080, which starts MSRP at $1,300, I believe. So $300 more than the supposedly competitive 7900 XTX. Wow. So it's not surprising to me that just based on that information, the RTX 4080 has not been selling well. It's in stock everywhere, and odds are pretty good that because it is in stock everywhere, once NVIDIA announces this price drop, you'll probably be able to get it for the new MSRP. It's worth noting that if that MSRP is not $1,000 or less, still don't buy it. Probably you'll be better off with the AMD cards. So that's kind of where we're at. Obviously, more information will be coming if NVIDIA actually does drop the MSRP of the 4080. I'll make sure to mention it. And as we get to see the performance of the 7900 XT and the XTX, we'll be able to more adequately judge whether or not they do compete with the 4080 the way that they have been said by AMD they will. So that's for the future, but just quick update. 4080 has been selling like turd and hopefully will cost less in the future. So if you did pay $1,300 for one, well, that sucks.
That sucks. Dang. Well,
that is it. That's all my tech news. It's been a slow couple of weeks, believe it or not.
Yeah. It's to be expected.
I mean, at this point, I'm actually kind of surprised we still have a piece of hardware launching this year. The fact that the RDNA 3 GPUs from AMD still haven't launched at this point in December is kind of surprising. Like, so yeah, that's coming up in a couple of days. I'm as surprised as anybody else, but yeah, slow. It's a slow time of year.
Yep. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and take over. Again, listener, don't really want to talk about the Activision Blizzard and Microsoft thing. It's reasons. I think it just irritate me more than ever, and you just don't want to hear. I don't want to hear that. And I think I could probably get Caleb to rant on it too, and that would be a long one. But I don't think I could reel him back in. So
there are so many things to rant about in this situation.
Oh, just
don't want to go there.
Yeah, we'll move on from that.
We'll save that for the inaugural episode of Spend Love Rants. The new podcast coming from Calling Out Platforms.
We'll tell you what.
I'm kidding.
Once it finally is either A, approved, which it's gonna, or B, is blocked, then we'll make a comment.
Right. Then we'll have something to say.
Yes. Then we'll either be yay or nay or whatever. We'll go from there. Okay. So we'll kind of go into gaming. That's kind of all Xbox really has at the moment, other than the Activision Blizzard thing. So the Game Awards, that was this past week. Lots of games that have come out. Lots of trailers, lots of cool things. One that I'm interested in, which I guess I'm a little biased on this. Speaking of Activision Blizzard, Diablo 4.
Yeah.
Pre-orders are out now, so you can pre-order this.
Yeah, I'm still surprised I missed. Like, I totally missed the release of this trailer, listener. I did not know pre-orders were opening up. I did not see this trailer, which is baffling to me because I saw like a half dozen other trailers for various games that were launched at the Game Awards. I just didn't see the Diablo 4 one. What the heck?
I'm surprised. It was a really good trailer. I really thought it was cool.
Considering the number of like Blizzard-owned YouTube channels that I am subscribed to, why did YouTube not recommend this to me? The algorithm is not working for me right now.
I'm not sure either. But there's 3 different kinds of products you can pre-order. Obviously, the standard edition, which is just with the new price that everyone's going to, which is $70, so $69.99, just a standard edition. I looked on Xbox. I looked on Battle.net. Yep, that's the price.
Yeah.
So pre-orders. What does it get you for just pre-ordering any of the versions? You get 4 days early access, and you also get into the beta. So you get into the beta, guaranteed, and then you get. And I believe that the date was June 6th. Let me double check. So the release date is June 6th of Diablo 4. The beta is going to be obviously earlier, but if you pre-order, you actually get to be 4 days early than everyone else. So you get access on the 2nd of June.
Yeah, well, as with any pre-orders for software, I would just say, listener, probably don't. Like, pre-ordering hardware is even more sketchy, but I would at least wait until like the beta has happened and you can get people's impressions on how it's going before you pre-order it. That's my personal take on it.
This week they did have a lot of people. There was an embargo on it with a lot of people, a lot of streamers, a lot of YouTubers that were able to play Diablo 4, play the full first act, I believe. And so those are out now. If you're interested to take a look and see what people think, you're more than welcome to do that. So a lot of that embargo, a lot of people are excited overall.
Yeah. And it's the fact that a lot of people are excited that I'm so wary about it, you know? like, because that's the thing. I have absolutely read the reviews and talked to people that have said glowing, wonderful things about absolutely terrible games just because they were excited for the concept of them. And they were like, even when they first initially played the game, they were all like, oh, conceptually, this is so cool. But then as time goes on, they are like, no, it turns out this game kind of sucks, despite the fact that I really want it to not suck. And their initial impressions were kind of rose colored because of that. So yeah, I don't know where the happy medium is for this, but just, yeah, it's hard. It's, man, especially at $70, like $70. It is hard to recommend pre-ordering a game at that price. That is just a lot of money.
Yep. It is. I mean, and also did want to talk about what is in the pre-orders, which also shows the monetization. So we'll talk about the standard, obviously. So we talked about the standard edition. You get in early. You get the open betas, but then you also get a Diablo 4 mount called the Lightbearer mount. This also, which is interesting, for some reason I thought this would be obviously we're 2 years into this gen of console, but it's actually in last gen and this gen for both PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and the Series. So I thought that was interesting. I figured they would have just done this gen, but
yeah, but I mean, the gameplay of Diablo, visuals are never really the
true.
never
But all
really
the
the
games
treat
that
there.
have been releasing or announced or anything from here on out have been just next. Like they're just
Yeah.
not even worrying about it. So
Yeah. Well, they've been working on Diablo for so long that they developed it entirely for the previous generation of consoles. And they probably had to port it up to the new ones.
But they've had to
So-
restart it a few times. There's been little things about that they've had to restart things a few times. So, but anyway, let's move on. You also will get Diablo Immortal Cosmic Set, the Umber Winged Darkness. You will get a World of Warcraft mount, as well as Diablo 3 Inarius Wings and Inarius Murloc Pet. If you don't know who Inarius is, I'll go ahead and let you know. Inarius is actually the father of the Nephilim, which is the father of humans. And then, obviously, Lilith, she is the mother. So, an angel and a demon had a baby. There you go. That's kind of what it is. And mom and dad are coming back.
My gosh, that was a lot of lore you summed up in basically one sentence. kind of wondering about the validity of the entire Diablo franchise now.
Well, I mean, we'll see. Hey, you got to take a look at that trailer. I'm not gonna lie. I was excited.
Say whatever you will about Blizzard and their modern games, but their modern cinematic trailers have not lost any of the potency that they have always had. And if there is any company that I look forward to trailers from, it's Blizzard.
Yeah.
Like, they are so... I just freaking make a StarCraft movie already, you pansies.
Hey, we'll see what happens.
The only question I have along with all this stuff is, where are all the cows coming from?
There is no cows.
There's no cow level.
There's no cows.
They're there. You just gotta find them.
Oh, yes. If you decide that you want to spend $90 and get the digital deluxe edition, this will get you everything that I previously stated in the standard, but also another mount for Diablo 4, which is called Temptation. The Diablo 4, there's going to be... this is funny to say, but you get mount armor called the Hellborn Carcass. Yep.
Wow.
Mount
DLC
armor.
has come full circle.
And also, you will get the Diablo 4 Season Battle Pass.
Oh, no.
So, we kind of knew this was coming. We're going to have a Battle Pass, but the way that they're making it sound, it's more just the cosmetic stuff. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see.
I mean, this is... I don't know, man. Freaking modern game monetization sucks. And the thing is, like, I've heard so many arguments from people who work in AAA games that are just like, look, in order to make games like this, we have to monetize them this way in order to get the money to make the games like this. Like, they're not profitable otherwise. And in response to that, I have two things that I would say. First of all, maybe you shouldn't be making games like that. Maybe you should be focusing more on, like, making them narrowly scoped so that you don't have to have a development team of literally thousands of people in order to produce them. And, like, you know, maybe that's how you bring down the cost so that you can just sell it for $50 and actually make a profit off of it. And on the other side of that coin, friggin' From Software exists. And
I was going to say that.
Elden Ring
Elden Ring,
hilariously profitable, and is just you just buy the thing. So I don't know, like that argument doesn't necessarily carry a ton of weight anymore, Blizzard. I think that maybe the issue is with you and your company culture, not with the games industry at large, because other people are making it work. In fact, frickin' God of War is a pretty good example of that. Like, that entire franchise exists based on the concept that Sony can sell it only to people on their platform with no monetization after the fact, and it's still crazy profitable.
Yeah.
So if it works for them, even EA can do this? Like, the last couple of Star Wars games, they obviously had so much, backlash against Battlefront 2 that they were like, look, we're going to do the Jedi game, the
Fallen Order,
that one. We're going to do Fallen Order with no monetization, and Squadrons with like only cosmetic monetization, or what was the deal with Squadrons? I'm not really sure, but
I think it was just cosmetic, like ship cosmetic, helmets.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Things like that.
But you look at like Fallen Order it was profitable. It did very well. They're making a sequel to it, so it can be done. Did we really need Diablo to turn into a microservices? It's very
that's
very
Activision
frustrating to me. Yeah. And I mean, it's not like the writing wasn't on the wall for this, because Diablo 3 was already kind of trending in that direction. Diablo 3 was this, except without the ability to monetize some of the things that they have monetized. But I don't know.
We'll see what happens. We'll see. I mean, I don't mind Overwatches. I have found that I don't get skins as much because I'm not buying them.
Yep.
Because I'm not going to spend $30 for a skin, for one skin.
Yeah, seriously. And that's the thing, is that like I used to get new skins pretty regularly just by playing the game.
Boxes.
But now I
just
can't
don't get them.
And so I'll be honest, I have like basically zero desire to play Overwatch 2 at this point. They pretty much need to release the single player content in order for me to even give it a second look.
Well, I mean, you and I, we played the new Junkenstein thing, and that was kind of as far as we got. Yeah.
I mean, it was fun, but it was very much like this feels like a taste of what this could be, and it isn't this right now. It's they're just banking on that multiplayer loop to get people into it, and they're trying to monetize it the way that Fortnite is monetized, and I consider Fortnite to be a travesty. So I'm totally not here for this, Blizzard, at all. And the fact that, yes, we're putting a battle pass in Diablo 4, like, I get that the Diablo 4 battle pass is more like just the seasonal content in Diablo 3, which I never participated in, and I never felt like I was really missing out on anything based off of that. It was all just about like new armor sets, new cosmetics, new pets, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Like, I'm not gonna, it didn't bother me then. And based on what I have heard and what you're saying about Diablo 4 Battle Pass, probably I can just ignore it and everything will be fine.
I think it's going to be the same as Overwatch. Like, you'll have regular Battle Pass stuff, but it's more of the premium Battle Pass that you get the premiums, and I think it's going to be. I'm going to think it's going to be the same.
Yeah, probably.
I messed in Immortal for a while. I did 2.5 of their seasons, I think, on Immortal. I didn't mind it, but what sucked was those seasons went by like 1 month.
Yeah.
And it was just like there was no time to get through those, and so that was very disappointing for me. But then again, I'm not that let's be real, I'm not the demographic for that. They're looking for people that's going to drop $100 every month on the game. And I was kind of hoping that Diablo Immortal would be able to help fund Diablo 4. They wouldn't have to have the battle pass, you know what I mean? But
probably what they saw was that it was successful with Diablo Immortal, so they're like, "Oh, yes, here we go."
Yeah,
it's very much a case of like, I mean, you say we're not in the demographic, and it's true, because I just don't have enough time to put into these games to make paying for a battle pass even remotely worth it. It's just absolutely no way in snot I will ever do that. What's really interesting to me is, does Blizzard know who their audience is? Because their audience is, largely speaking, about 30 years old right now. They tend to have full-time jobs. Some of them, maybe most of them, have kids, and they don't necessarily play games as much as they used to. Like, the best that they were getting was every time they released an expansion for World of Warcraft, they would get a whole bunch of people that were all like, "Hey, I'm going to renew my World of Warcraft subscription so I can play through this expansion," and then cancel it again, because that's all the time that I have for games. Like, their target audience, that the audience they're targeting is playing Fortnite and Minecraft and Apex Legends right now. And, it's the people that kind of migrated from League of Legends and into those places. And they're trying to grab them with Diablo. I don't know. I just feel like maybe this is the crotchety old man gamer in me that's on a wicker chair on his front porch yelling at the kids to get off of his lawn. But I feel like Blizzard has kind of fundamentally misunderstood that the vast majority of their audience is a bunch of old farts like me. And I don't think they're going to get nearly as much success out of this as like the statistics from Call of Duty would probably suggest that they will, because Call of Duty is different. And Activision has monetized Call of Duty in this way. And now they're all like, okay, Blizzard, your turn. And I don't think it's going to work out nearly as well for them as they think it is going to. And I suspect they may already be realizing that, because last I heard, player numbers for Overwatch 2 were not sustaining the way that they would hope with a free-to-play model.
Yeah, I haven't seen, but I don't have time.
Exactly. And the fact that they're all like, oh yeah, new maps, new characters, like every season with the new battle pass, all this new content and stuff like that. I'm like, that's great. But if you release it at this pace where you're doing a new season, it's like every 2 months or every month or something like that. Yeah,
it's like 2 months.
When you're doing it that often, and I'm not paying for the battle pass, I refuse. You are quickly going to just make me feel like there's no point in even trying to keep up, because I don't have the time to keep up, and so it's extremely frustrating.
One thing that I wish they would do that actually Fortnite does is you in the battle pass, if you buy the battle pass once, they're in the premium stuff. There's enough currency that if you save that currency, you can buy the next battle pass. So basically you buy the battle pass once, and if you get through the battle pass throughout, it has enough to purchase the next one.
Yeah.
Overwatch does not. They're like, if it was more like that, then I think I'd be more interested, because then I'm like, okay, I don't want to buy another battle pass.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the battle pass model makes a heck of a lot more sense for something like a battle royale than it does for something like Overwatch. When they implemented a battle pass in Call of Duty, when they implemented a battle pass in Apex Legends, when they implemented the battle pass in Fortnite, all it can be is cosmetic. Right? It's skins for guns, it's new character models, it's new outfits and dance emojis and so on and so forth. Dance emojis, dance emotes, and so on and so forth. Because that is all it can be. Because it is a battle royale, it's inherently equalizing in the gameplay factor. Everybody starts out naked and alone. On the map, you have to scrounge up your own weapons and you have to survive it, because the battle royale format is it's very equalizing. And so they can have the battle pass, they can have all this extra monetization like that for the people who are crazy, but I would still play and I would still have the same experience as everybody else from a gameplay perspective. And if I'm there for the gameplay, then that works out great for me. With Overwatch, I am there for the gameplay. All of the cosmetics and all that stuff was always secondary to me. Mm-hmm. But Overwatch is not inherently equalized gameplay. And if they're locking new characters away behind battle pass unlocks and stuff like that, then that is going to be that's a killer for me. That's a game ending showstopper, because it is different. Now, by paying for the battle pass, people are going to be having a different game experience than me, because that's how the gameplay is structured. And it's very interesting. Like, it sounds like Diablo 4, going back to Diablo 4, which I guess is what this news is really about. Seems like probably that will be more like the Fortnite battle pass, where you'll be having basically the same gaming experience. And it helps that Diablo is typically a single player story based kind of experience, Yeah. Like, I can totally deal with that. I don't need to have this particular armor set that you get with the battle pass or whatever, because as long as I'm killing demons with the armor I've got on, I'm fine. You know, like,
yeah, because it's all
I need.
cosmetic supposedly. So
right, and even if it's not, you know, armor sets that have like super awesome stats or something like that. Look, I've been playing since Diablo 2 was actually new, and well, not new, but pretty new, and I have never ever in all of my hundreds to possibly thousands of hours playing various Diablo games, I have never once had a quote-unquote complete set of armor, ever, or gear of any kind. Like, you know, even back in Diablo 2 when they had like the matched breastplates with the boots, with the swords or shield, whatever, never have I ever had a complete set of armor in any of those games, and I've been absolutely fine. So Diablo kind of works that way. So long as Diablo 4 doesn't significantly change that up, then okay. Like, I'm fine. Maybe I'll look past the battle pass, but it just kind of, the fact that it's there at all says to me that Blizzard, they may have lost their way a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyways, was this the thing you were expecting me to rant about this week, listener?
Yeah, it was actually. That was it. I mean, it's totally different. It really is. I mean, first Diablo. Let me rephrase that. First mainline Diablo game with a monetization like this.
Yep.
So,
yeah. I mean, Diablo 3, they had, when they launched it, there was a store in that. And
it was the auction house.
Yeah, the auction house, that thing. Yeah, that got killed real fast.
Yep.
Because it was basically gambling. Which, you know.
So, that's with the Digital Deluxe. Now let's move on to if you're wanting to spend $100 for the Ultimate Edition. You get everything, but then also you get 20 tier skips and cosmetic items in the Battle Pass.
What the heck?
So basically you just get 20 levels in the Battle Pass instantly.
Yeah.
But every Battle Pass has, you can buy the next level. They all do that.
Yeah.
So. And then if you want to pre-order the Collector's Edition, you do not get any of that stuff. In fact, you don't get the game. The Collector's Edition of Diablo.
You get a box that's empty.
It's not empty, but you get a box that includes the Candle of Creation, Cloth Map of Sanctuary, the Diablo 4 Collector's Edition art book, an occult mouse pad, the Pin of the Herodrum, and a 2 matted fine art print size 18 by 10.
Well, that's stupid.
And on here, so
they
it
couldn't
does not
include
have
a digital game code in there too. Like, what WTF, Blizzard?
Nope. So, and I haven't seen the price for this yet, but it says it should go live on the 15th. So
look, limited edition collectible merch is a thing. Like, okay, they want to have some limited edition collectible merch for the launch of their game. All right, that's fine. Don't pre-order merchandise for a game that hasn't launched, listener. This isn't even pre-ordering the game. You're pre-ordering, this is basically pre-ordering a coffee mug that has a picture of Ant-Man on it for the Ant-Man movie coming out next year. That's what this is. Like,
to be fair though, if you're going to pre-order anything in this scenario, this is what you would pre-order because you're going to get use out of this stuff, whereas the game may suck.
That's true.
So if you're a fan, there you go. This, and there are people that buy these things. I know God of War had stuff like this.
And Wes bought all this stuff.
I think Final Fantasy had a few of this where you got stuff, but you didn't get the actual game. Well,
every high-profile AAA game has some kind of collector's edition that includes like a statue or whatever with it. But every single one of them that I'm aware of also includes the game.
If I remember, God of War did not.
Did it not?
I could
know
be
it
wrong.
didn't include a physical
it was the
disc.
I think it was the 2018, not this Ragnarok one, but the one before. I think that one, and they got a lot of crap for it, but it was, I mean, it's got
obviously
more, so.
They didn't learn.
Well, I mean, this is Blizzard. It's a different company. They need to learn separately. It's impossible to learn from somebody else's mistakes.
I mean, there's fans, there's people that buy these things, so it's for them. It's the niche.
Well, like I said, I totally see the whole like collectible limited edition merch for the launch of your game. I see that. I understand that people like that, to collect that, to buy it, whatever. Fine. But having that available as a pre-order, that's ridiculous. Because you know what's going to happen, listener. If you pre-order this, they will make you some. Which means that it's not really limited edition. It's not collectible. It's anybody who wants it will get it.
Yeah.
Right? And so everybody who collects will have it, which means that all the collections will include it, which means it's not really collectible. That's like saying that's like if every deck of Pokemon cards that was ever sold came with a Mew in it. Obviously, I'm a first-gen Pokemon player, so that's where my brain goes immediately. But it's a highly collectible card because there's not very many of them. But this is basically saying that, hey, anybody who wants a Mew, you just buy it. It's just there. Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a weird way to do your collectible merch, as opposed to just saying, hey, we're making 2,000 of these. First 2,000 people get them, or something like that, which is how you usually would do. Anyway, I'm very confused about how Blizzard is doing this entire thing, and the marketing for it is confusing and whatever, but I am looking forward to the trailer. I'm sure it's cool.
Yeah, take a look at the trailer. It was pretty cool. Anyway, the Game Awards, there was a lot of games being announced. It was a long Game Awards. I didn't watch it. I did highlights, but a lot of people that did watch it that I heard were like, oh my goodness. There was a lot. I guess other notable mentions at the Game Awards. Elden Ring won Game of the Year, which was good. I think was definitely good. Let's see. There was an interesting combination of DLC that's coming out for Dead Cells and Castlevania.
Oh.
Yep. So you get to fight Dracula and Death alongside Alucard and Richter Belmont. So if you're a Dead Cells fan, cool.
I mean, they're both Metroidvanias. That makes sense.
Yeah, why not? There were a lot of other awards. There's just lots of awards that I kind of felt were unnecessary, like Best Esports Coach.
Oh boy.
Yeah, random stuff. But they had, like I said, there was a lot of games, a lot of things, one after another. Big profile ones, obviously Final Fantasy 16, the big one that's coming out. They had a release date. They talked about that. Lots of other DLC. From Software, they got the Elden Ring thing, but then they announced another From Software game that hasn't had a game. I can't remember what, but it was like a machine game. I can't remember the top of my head, but a big profile now. It was back on the Xbox 360 era they made.
Huh.
I can't remember what it was called, but
From Software machine game.
I can't remember what it was called,
because I thought I had a pretty good handle on From Software's catalog, but maybe I don't.
You have to look, and a bunch of others that if you want to take a look. I know Cyberpunk is getting a big DLC with other actors that are in it. Keanu Reeves did more voice lines for it, so Cyberpunk's getting that. So a lot of big games coming out.
Oh.
So.
Is it Armored Core?
That's it. I couldn't think of it.
That is literally the only game franchise on this list of products made by From Software that I have not heard of.
Yeah, that's it. So it's a big one that a lot of people are excited for, anticipation for. So cool stuff. Lots of games. So I'd say go check it out. If you want to see the new Mario, they did a clip at the Game Awards for the new movie, a clip of that Mario movie that's coming out. All sorts of stuff. Take a look at it. Cool stuff coming. We did talk about this. I'm going to move over to Microsoft a little bit on their first party games. They did come out and announce this, that all their new first party games in 2023 will now be $70. So if you buy them, that's what it's going to be. So they used to be just the 60. They went ahead and upped the price. I mean, it was inevitable. Let's be real.
Yeah,
it was kind
but
of the
I
last
hate it.
bastion.
Look, I just remember when I bought Age of Mythology brand new, it was $50.
Yep.
New games used to be $50. Don't forget, listener. Don't let them forget.
Yeah. So, and that's going to go across, all their other platforms that they have their games on, Steam, things like that. So just be aware that, like the new games like Starfield, the Forza Motorsport, that other Bethesda game, Redfall. I couldn't think of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they probably want to get ahead of this because they didn't have a very big presence at the Game Awards. Xbox didn't, but they got a little tweet out by Aaron Greenberg saying, hey, you don't have to wait too long. We got some stuff for you. So who knows what's going to happen with that. So, but yeah, I do want to make it aware that this is happening. $70 games. Oh boy. But that is really all the big news that I have, or any kind of news that happened. So, all right. Well, I think that's everything unless Landon has one more thing.
Nope.
Not today. Man, remember that streak you had? Was it 3 days, 4 days that we had like one more thing?
Yeah.
Pretty good. It was pretty good.
Nothing is happening right now. Despite
It's the wrong time of year for that type of stuff.
True.
I guess you can count the very first thing I did as my one more thing. I just really did at the beginning of the episode instead of the end.
That's fair.
There you go. That works. All right, dear listener, we appreciate you listening. If you want to get a hold of us, you can at our social media platforms, as well as our website at callingallplatforms.com. If you want to see any of our videos, you can check us out on YouTube at Calling All Platform Gaming. All right, dear listener, have a good week.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.